Hi everyone. So this video is my gift to you. It's a free sample from a course that I have put together called Manifest Soulmate Relationships, and this is a free offering to you. So in order to really manifest a soulmate, we also need to do the work of forgiveness. So I speak more in details about that in this video, but what I want you to do is to find a link below this video which has this workbook, and you'll be opening this workbook, and in this video I'm giving you a very detailed example of how I would do it, and then after that you have to do the same. So please remember that while you might watch this video and you might connect to the things that I'm saying, it is important at the end of it for you to try out this exercise by yourself. It's a practical exercise. So just make sure that you take out 20 minutes or something to try it out, to write it out. And you can download this PDF. You can type it on the internet, or you can look at the questions and write it by yourself. So just find the link to that and have it open, and then just enjoy the video and go from there. If you would like to purchase this course, then again you can find the details in the description below this video. It's on my website www.shrutivashisht.com. Also, please note that right now, for a limited time only, this course is on a 50% off. So find the link to the course below this video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to this channel, because I will be having uploading another meditation, which is a romantic date with your soulmate in order to manifest your soulmate. And now let's just get ready for the video. So please don't forget to download your workbook. Just click the link below this video and enjoy. Hi, and welcome to this chapter on forgiveness. So forgiveness is really essential. It's very important on the path of manifesting a soulmate, manifesting any kind of balanced relationships, really. Because if you're still holding on to resentments from the past, they might be regarding another person, but you will be playing it out in your current relationships, and in fact we won't then manifest anybody who has the vibration of a soulmate, really, because the soulmate vibration is a vibration of complete balance. So but luckily it doesn't have to be that hard. If you find the place in your heart, it's not that hard to it's not that hard to forgive because naturally we are love, and when we tap into that resource, it's we see what we're all about. Okay, so I have already given you a lengthy example of what happened in my life, one example of something that happened in my childhood, because often these things, when we need to forgive people, even if it's a newer relationship that we had, the patterns of it, of why we drew those circumstances in the first place, they come from our childhood often. So the childhood ones can be the most potent when it comes to the patterns still playing out. But you can use this for anybody who comes to mind. Your body sort of has its own wisdom. That's why the part of the exercise says, think of someone you need to forgive. So we're just going to, you don't have to do this with me right now, because I'm giving you an example right now of my own life. But when you do this, again, you just close your eyes. You come into the heart. Who do I need to forgive now? Is there somebody that I need to forgive? Who is it that I need to forgive? And you will feel, who it is. So for me, I'm going to use the same example as I've written for you of my childhood abuser, this man who abused me when I was a child. And okay, so the first write down everything they did to you that was wrong. So what happened, so maybe I should just explain briefly what happened before we get into the steps. So in my case, this person, they were a family friend, and they sort of, I went to their house, essentially. Like, we trusted them a lot, my family, because they would visit very often. We would always be at their place, they would be here and stuff. Close-knit, essentially. So I went alone with him to his house, and nobody else was there at that time. And I think this person was in college at the time, and I was like really young, somewhere between the ages of 10 to 12 or something. I'm not sure of the exact age. What happened basically was that they took me to their room, and I was about to leave. My family and I were about to leave to another country. We were going to London, and London is not a country, but we were moving to London. And they sort of just asked me to sit in their lap. And they were like, we really miss you when you go away, and basically they used that excuse, and they were like holding me and whatever, and touching me inappropriately and trying to kiss me and whatever. So all of this was happening, and at that age, I didn't even know what this was. Like, it just felt wrong to my body, but what was happening, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't have the words for it, the language. And it was the first time, obviously, that a man had touched me, and it was inappropriate. So, I was dealing with a lot in that moment. But more than just that, it was also, even though I was a child, I remember very clearly that this switch happened in my head, where I knew that I had to do something to get out, because if I admitted to him that I knew what was going on, that something was wrong here, then things might take an uglier turn, and maybe I won't even get out of this alive. It could threaten my life, and not just like sexually, but also like much bigger than that too. So there was that turn in my head that happened, and I had to sort of play it in a way where I wouldn't fully admit that I knew what was happening, but be like, no, I feel like going and getting ice cream, let's go, or whatever, so something like this. So this is the main scenario that I've given you, and ultimately it was fine. I don't actually have clear memory of how I was able to, but I was able to get out of there. I think maybe somebody came, or came back to the house and the doorbell rang, or I can't remember, but it ended. But it was a very impactful event in my life. It played out later too, when I was older, when I attracted another thing in my life, and that was very public. It was happening, like this man that was there in public. But anyway, we won't get into that, because I don't want to complicate this exercise too much. But I want to explain to you about how forgiveness works. So basically, first write down everything that they did to you that was wrong. So let me see, if I wanted to write this, I would write something like, they touched me inappropriately. They knew exactly what they were doing, but they touched me inappropriately. They lied to me, and they brought me in a house telling other people that their family was there, but there was no one there at home. So they told my parents that obviously my parents assumed that our relatives were there, the whole family was there, but no one was there, and it was just me and this guy. Write how it made you feel. So this part is important. Okay, so it made me feel like my life was under threat, and I had to sort of make a run for it somehow, but I couldn't do that in an obvious manner. So it made me feel like I'm dying. It made me feel shameful, ashamed of myself, ashamed of my body. It made me feel just lacking security, and betrayed, I guess. So betrayed, ashamed, the deepest level of shame, and what was the third one? I forgot. But write down 3 like this. So it'll be something, get to those more core emotions, the lower ones. Not just something like, oh, I felt threatened. No, you felt like you were dying, So it's not just threatened. So come to that core feeling, because we all feel that for these patterns that we carry throughout our lives. Okay, so sink into your heart now and write how these things actually helped you. write for 10 minutes. So if it weren't for this person, I've already written this, right? So if it weren't for this person, I would not have, let's say, because I realized this years later, I kept quiet about it. I didn't tell my family or anybody. Somehow I just told myself at that age that, you know, I can't say this, because then our whole family ties between these two families and all of these connections, you know, it would just get disrupted. And I don't know why I gave myself that reason. I was just a child. I don't know why it happened, but that's what it was. That's what I told myself, and I kind of just suppressed it after that. And obviously that has to do somewhere with societal conditioning also. You know, what a child tells themselves. But then when all of this happened, and then as you know, when I was in my, I think, 20s, late 20s actually, this man visited us. We were living in another country, and they were visiting that country, so their family came and stayed over. Obviously my parents didn't know about what had gone on. And then when I saw this guy for almost for the first time after many years, you know, it brought back some feelings, and I had already suppressed this, even though I was consciously aware that this had happened. Everything had been suppressed. It's kind of hard to describe, you know, like it's almost like the body has a way of dealing with trauma, like it represses these memories. So even though I knew the event had happened, it's almost like I had lost sensation for it, you know, and everything that went on. And that's, you know, that's good, that's healthy. When trauma happens to you, the body has a mechanism for making you survive that, because a child can't handle, even though I was an older child, but still at any age, if this happens to you, you know, it's traumatic for sure. Especially like if it's the first time that a person has touched you, you've been touched inappropriately, and you know, like I said, it brought on more incidents where I was touched inappropriately later. So if it weren't for this person, I would not have found my because in the beginning, when all of this was coming out, I felt like I wasn't getting enough support from everybody around me. Like they wouldn't understand. They had all these questions. Did you imagine it? You know, some relatives were asking me, did you imagine it? Are you sure, like, you know, you're mentally sane? You know, even to that level. And it just like it brought up so much within me, because it brought up more than what I had gone through as an individual, but also, you know, what women go through, how society is, how all of us, not only women, are living under this just this level of suppression that's there, and how people just ignore it, and they just don't want to see what's in front of them. They're like, no, you don't exist, this doesn't exist. You know, we all do this. So if it weren't for this person, I would not have found my inner masculine myself, my inner strength, that when there's nobody looking out for me, there's nobody really to defend me, you know, you can say, because I was still seeking in the external that somebody should do that, but I didn't get it right away. So I had to become that for myself, and that was the biggest gift I gave myself, because that was the beginning of my empowerment, you know. And I saw that, you know, within the years to come, how things shifted, how people looked at me, and even the same people who had said certain things, or same people who weren't coming around, or maybe they, you know, still had love for me, like my family, but they weren't able to take the appropriate actions to distance ourselves or to confront this. Then they began doing it. And this was a direct result of my own self-love, that I had empowered myself, that I'd stood my ground, you know. And in the beginning, you know, I wasn't very graceful about it even. I would have like this rage that was there, you know, that how can you be like this, you're my family, and you know, what is the meaning of family? And I went through this whole period, and I would take it out. There's a bee here. Okay. So anyway, so there was a whole thing that went on, but ultimately, if it weren't for this person, I wouldn't have been this beautiful, empowered woman that I am today. This is what I'm most proud of, you know, just my empowerment. I know that no matter what happens to me in life, I'm going to be fine. And it's not in a cocky way, and it's also not in a way of excluding others, that I don't need others. But it's this inner strength that's there, you know. So that was beautiful. Okay. And if it weren't for this person, I would have never even, I would have lived, you know, just like a lot of people just live like they're never discovering their inner strength, that everything's fine on the surface, but underneath they're not living fully, because they haven't claimed their inner qualities of joy, of power, of whatever it is. So when these extreme things happen to us, or relationships show us certain things, they give us a chance to really empower ourselves in this way. So that's what this person brought me. I am grateful for them because of all of this. I'm grateful for them because as a result, I got empowerment. As a result, I learned even unconditional love, because I saw this person, my abuser, right? And I was like this. I started reading up about abuse, and talking to some people who were into psychology. And they were telling me, that I don't know what the statistics are, but most of the people who become child abusers have been abused in their childhood. So I saw this person with new eyes, that that this person must have gone through so much more than I have in order for them to become and behave the way that they were doing. So they are in deep pain, and so I saw their inner child, because my inner child had been through so much. I had all this shame to begin with. Why did I put up with this? Why didn't I tell anyone? It's my fault. And all of those things that we go through. Shame for the body, that I've been touched inappropriately. I didn't want to be touched for a long time after that. So I am grateful for them because of all this, because of these incidents. I learned unconditional love, I learned empowerment, and just so many other things. They made me realize, so there's a section for they made me realize. So they made me realize I am love, I am empowerment, I am strength, I am beautiful. I don't need anybody's validation or approval, what they think of my body or me. There's a whole new way that I think of myself and what I am now. It's not always 100%, but pretty much I'm living in it for the most part, which is which is very good, which is good enough. So write down what you can genuinely forgive them for. And this is part of what I was speaking about, that I can forgive them because they have been through something probably much worse than I have in order to be behaving this way. And I know that because I have felt shame, I have felt like I can't get love. So they must feel this too, that they don't have love, they don't have access to love, they don't know the love that they are, the beauty that they are inside. So they feel they have to grasp it somehow, in ways that it won't be just given to them. They have to get it somehow in this grasping way. So I can forgive them because I've had these feelings myself. And probably they were a child and went through a lot themselves. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else. So then I forgive them for blah blah blah, and I forgive myself for. Also, this is very important because when you go through something in relationships, even if it's not as drastic as this, what do you forgive yourself for? So I forgive myself for taking this, for not speaking about it, for being too scared, for freezing, for being frozen. And even though these people in my life who through my life have known me as somebody who is outspoken and empowered and blunt, I always say what's on my mind since I was a child, then what happened in this case that I couldn't speak, so I wasn't able to forgive myself for that for a while. And then I realized it's fine, I was a child, I went through something, and it was a lot for the body to take, and the body dealt with it in its own intelligence in the best way possible. But now, and look at the gifts that this whole process has brought me, and it's through, the place that I am at now, it's through all of these exercises that I'm teaching you in this course. So really, this course is very close to my heart. Everything that I'm teaching you here, really, if you do it, it's it can change your whole life, and it'll affect more than just your relationships, because your relationship with yourself is changing. So obviously that affects everything. So I forgive myself for all of these things. So you see, there's this release that happens. So what do we learn in the end? We learn that forgiveness is freedom, not freedom for another person, because people often think, how can you forgive that person? You know, that person molested you, or that person raped you, or they abused you, or whatever it might be, you know, for a certain person in your life, whatever they did. But when you allow forgiveness, it's not really for them, it's for you. You get freedom from this pattern that you've had, and you know, not only this pattern, but these new things that you claim, like I said, this new strength and everything that, you know, they showed you, that they mirror to you, that there are aspects of your true self, of the love that you are. Okay, so I hope that that you found this helpful. Please try the exercise, come back to it again and again. You will need to forgive different people at different times. Sometimes it'll be yourself too. So I really wish you the best with this journey of love.